Hello, my name is Eric Young. I'm an independent contact center and business optimization consultant, and I'm going to share a little bit about my experience with selling and my perspective on selling because I think you're going to find it to be a little unique. I have been involved in sales my entire career. I started working for companies, selling for companies, starting and running inside sales operations, selling products and services for companies. I've been through all the formal training. I've taken courses, and I have administered all of that and followed what I've been taught to the letter over the years. And it's led me to a point where in my career where I would say up until just 10 years ago, the realization that everything I had been taught and everything that is supposed to be the proper and methodical approach to selling is wrong. It is just wrong, and it yields bad results. When I was running inside sales operations, for an example, when I was following all the proper politically correct and methodical approaches, we would see return rates on our products and services upwards of 30 to 40%. When I'd been selling professional services and I was following all the acceptable methodologies, yes, I had a measure of success, and clients would sign on with me reluctantly. And when I did deliver a service, it was always questioned, and it was never good enough, and they were not easy clients to work with, and I think that they had difficulty writing a check to compensate me afterwards because the sale was never was never a proper sale to begin with. So I'm going to share with you 3 simple steps that I do when I sell, and my perspective that has changed everything, and it's turned it all around. So when I go into a sales call now, my goal is one thing. There's only one way you're going to get a good, solid sale with a customer that genuinely has a need and wants to work with you. And that is to gain their trust. That's it, plain and simple, is to gain their trust. So rather than try to sell them, I attempt to gain their trust. So the only way, so the 3 ways that I do that is, number 1, I ask questions, I listen only, and I talk as little as possible, and I learn as much as I possibly can about them, and I let them talk, and that's it. I just keep asking questions, and I learn as much as I possibly can about them, about their situation, about their pain points. Second, then I change my questions, and my questions are designed to challenge why they would even consider consulting. And they actually are designed to convince them not to use me. So I actually de-sell. Because keep one thing in mind, especially with professional services. I believe this would apply to any service. Nobody wants to be sold. Nobody. I personally don't like to be sold to. I don't like to sell to somebody who doesn't want to receive the sales message. And with consulting, or really any service, especially with mine, is typically unplanned, unbudgeted. People are busy, and at best, I am an annoyance. So keeping that in mind, you got to be respectful and make it more about them and not about you. So the second point is, first one is listen, ask as many questions as you can, and listen as much as possible. Number 2 is to change up your questions and actually try to convince them or challenge them as to why they would even consider hiring a consultant. Why can't you do it yourself? Why haven't you done this before? What about some of the other options that you could consider? And what you're going to do then is you're going to change the entire dynamic. This happens every time, to the point that the tables are completely turned around now. What happens is they start to defend their position why they want to hire a consultant, and they start to try to sell me on why I should consider working with them. And then the final step is to come up with a suggested action plan. Those are the kind of customers you want to work with, right? Because then there's some you've demonstrated that you've got some integrity, that you don't want to work with someone that you have to push yourself onto. They need to see the value. They need to feel comfortable with you. They need to trust you. And once you can accomplish and achieve that level of trust, then you've got the basis for a good, productive relationship. And that's it. It's totally opposite of everything that I've learned. I'm actually trying to talk them into not using consulting and let them make their decision on the rationale. As a consultant, it's my job to show them the various options to achieve their goal and the pros and cons of each option, and then let them decide. And that's it. So I don't want to belabor the point. Thank you for listening.